For me, life without murder is like life without food for you. These are the chilling words of a man who turned a beloved city park into his personal hunting ground. He was playing a twisted game, one with a very specific, horrifying goal. By the time police finally closed in, he was just a few squares away from filling the board. To the millions of Muscovites, Bitsa Park is an escape, a sprawling forest offering a patch of tranquility in the heart of a chaotic city. It's a place for first dates, family picnics, and quiet moments of solitude. For years, however, this peaceful sanctuary was also a hunting ground. It was a place where a friendly offer to share a drink was a death sentence, where a quiet man pursued a twisted objective, and every life he took was another step toward his goal. An unassuming supermarket clerk was methodically tracking his kills on a chessboard, intent on filling its 64 squares, not with pieces, but with human lives. He was driven by a chilling obsession to reach a single number, 64, one for every square. How does a person become the Bitsa Park maniac? To understand, we have to go back to a playground accident. When Alexander Pichushkin was 4, he fell backward off a swing, which struck him hard in the forehead on its return. Experts now believe that impact may have damaged his frontal cortex, the part of the brain governing impulse control and aggression. After the accident, he was never the same. He became hostile, impulsive, and prone to explosive fits of rage. Bullied at school and a complete social outcast, Pichushkin found his only refuge in his maternal grandfather. It was his grandfather who taught him how to channel that aggression, not into schoolyard brawls, but onto the chessboard. Chess became an obsession, giving him a sense of control and dominance he couldn't find anywhere else. Young Alexander got good, really good, often seen in Bitsa Park holding his own against older, more experienced players. But that fragile stability shattered when his grandfather died. The loss of his only positive role model sent Pichushkin into a downward spiral. He retreated further into himself, and his obsession with chess was joined by heavy drinking. The park, once a place of strategic victories, was about to become the setting for his future crimes. His desire for dominance, once confined to chess, was now turning into a desire to control life and death. His first murder occurred on a summer night in 1992. Pichushkin, just 18, proposed to a classmate, Mikhail Odichuk, that they go on a killing spree together. When his friend realized it wasn't a twisted joke and refused, Pichushkin's rage erupted. He killed Odichuk and dumped his body into a sewer well deep inside Bitsa Park. Police questioned Pichushkin, but with no body and no evidence, they let him go. He would later describe this first kill with terrifying fondness. This first murder, it's like first love, it's unforgettable. Between 1992 and 2006, dozens of people disappeared in Moscow's Bitsa Park. The victims were rarely connected, mostly elderly, homeless, and socially isolated. By the time authorities understood, 49 were dead. In post-Soviet Moscow, unstable and strained, the vast Bitsa Park offered anonymity. Disappearances were easy to overlook, as victims lived on the margins, their absence rarely triggering alarm. Bullied at school and a complete social outcast, Pichushkin found his only refuge in his maternal grandfather. It was his grandfather who taught him how to channel that aggression, not into schoolyard brawls, but onto the chessboard. Chess became an obsession, giving him a sense of control and dominance he couldn't find anywhere else. Young Alexander got good, really good, often seen in Bitsa Park holding his own against older, more experienced players. But that fragile stability shattered when his grandfather died. The loss of his only positive role model sent Pichushkin into a downward spiral. He retreated further into himself, and his obsession with chess was joined by heavy drinking. The park, once a place of strategic victories, was about to become the setting for his future crimes. His desire for dominance, once confined to chess, was now turning into a desire to control life and death. The summer of 1992 marked a dark turning point. Pichushkin, now a volatile 18-year-old, decided to act on the violent impulses that had been festering for years. He approached a classmate, Mikhail Odichuk, with a chilling proposition that they go on a killing spree together. He lured Mikhail deep into Bitsa Park, the familiar backdrop of his childhood chess victories. When his classmate finally realized this wasn't some twisted, morbid joke and flatly refused to participate, Pichushkin's simmering rage erupted. In a sudden, violent outburst, he murdered Odichuk. He then disposed of the body in one of the park's deep sewer wells, a method that would become a grim signature. Although the police questioned Pichushkin about his friend's disappearance, they had no body and no concrete evidence to hold him. He was let go. Years later, he would recall this moment with a terrifying fondness, stating, "This first murder, it's like first love. It's unforgettable." After this first kill, an unnerving silence followed. For 9 long years, Pichushkin didn't kill again. Then, in 2001, the attacks resumed with a terrifying new intensity. He had found his perfect hunting ground and his ideal victims. In the chaos of post-Soviet Moscow, Bitsa Park was often filled with the city's forgotten people, the homeless, the elderly, and alcoholics. They were vulnerable, isolated, and tragically, unlikely to be missed by the authorities. His method became brutally simple and tragically effective. He would approach someone as a friend, offering to share a drink. He used a sympathetic lure, inviting them to a quiet spot for a shot of vodka, often claiming it was to mourn the death of his beloved dog. As soon as his victims were intoxicated and their guard was down, he would strike with a crushing blow to the back of the head, using either a hammer or the now empty vodka bottle itself. In these early years of his spree, from 2001 to 2005, he continued to throw the bodies into the park's sprawling sewer network. A body would surface now and then, but Moscow's overworked police failed to connect the dots. The deaths were dismissed as accidents or isolated brawls. The killings were happening in plain sight, yet the killer remained a ghost. After the first murder, there was a 9-year gap. When the killings resumed in 2001, they escalated quickly but remained disconnected. Victims were misclassified as accidents or alcohol-related deaths. In June 2006, Pichushkin invited co-worker Marina Moskalyova for a walk in Bitsa Park. Before leaving, she wrote a note to her son, naming Pichushkin and leaving his phone number. When she didn't return, that note led directly to his arrest. In custody, Pichushkin was cooperative. He described his system, a goal of filling all 64 squares on a chessboard. He targeted the vulnerable, those least likely to trigger investigation. Inside his apartment, authorities found the board, marked with over 60 completed squares. Pichushkin's motivation combined obsession and a need for control. His killings weren't impulsive. They were structured and symbolic. The chessboard transformed murder into measurable progress, reinforcing his sense of purpose and superiority. He saw himself as an authority, controlling life and death. In 2007, Alexander Pichushkin was convicted of 49 murders and 3 attempted murders. He showed no remorse, openly describing his actions from a reinforced glass enclosure. Sentenced to life, he was sent to the Polar Owl penal colony. The chessboard found in his apartment had only a few empty squares left.